Hello and welcome to the Ellen Made Book Club. Today it's time to pick out my March TBR. I'm gonna do the same thing that I have done for the January and February TBRs because I think it's been so much fun and it has worked out very well for me reading wise as well. So yeah, we're gonna do the same thing for March, and that is to use the reading challenges that I'm doing this year to pick out my TBR. There's going to be a little bit of a twist to it because I'm also going to try to participate in Audiomiles, which is a reading event hosted by Nikki at My Messy Bookshelf and Jessica at On a Stack of Books. And the idea is to listen to audiobooks while you walk or bike or, do some kind of activity. They have a book picked out and you can join them on that and discuss the book on Discord and through YouTube videos and things. I don't want to read that particular book, so I'm just gonna pick my own and log my miles or kilometers that I walk while listening. So I'm gonna try to pick a couple of extra audiobooks for this TBR, or I'm just gonna keep that in mind. And if I don't get prompts that work for the audiobook, I'm just gonna listen to whatever I want. So to pick my TBR, I'm going to use my diversity book bingo, which I will leave links to the announcement video and all of the information in the description box. So you can check that out if you want to join in. It's not too late at all. And then I'm also going to play the Lost in the Library board game by Leandra at Leandra the TBR 0, and I am also going to check at the end to make sure that I have books for the buzzword reading challenges, the read good challenge, and the savage reading prompts for the year. And if I don't, I will add books to make sure that I have books for those prompts. First of all, I'm going to use the Reading Spa quiz by Carrie at Carrie Books and Jen at Jen the Librarian Reads. So the question is, how would you spend an ideal weekend? Gardening, crafting, or hiking? I don't think I'm gonna do hiking because that seems like a stretch. I do enjoy hiking and walking and things, and with the Audiomiles reading event, that would be an appropriate answer. But I don't think that's how I spontaneously would imagine my ideal weekend. It would definitely be either gardening or crafting. It depends on the time of year, but in March, I would say crafting. In the summertime, I would love to garden, but in March, I'm gonna say crafting. Have you been outside today? No, I have not. So then my prompt is read a book that makes you think of an adventure not yet taken. The first thing that comes to mind is some kind of travel, world travel, and South America. I've always wanted to go to South America. Let's see. I'm also gonna need to look at my audiobooks before I forget. Okay, nothing here that stands out to me, I don't think. I think Smoke could be an option. This is by Gabriela Alemán and translated from the Spanish by Dick Cluster. And this is a book set in Paraguay. So that's South America. And so that could, work for that. What else do we have? I mean, I feel like any book can be an adventure not yet taken. If it's a book that I feel is a bit of a... could be a story that is an adventure, or just a book that's a bit outside of my comfort zone. I think Little Rot could be an adventure not yet taken because I think that Akwaeke Emezi is going to be an author that writes things that are a bit outside of my comfort zone, and it's also set in Nigeria, I think. So I've never been there. Fruit of the Dead by Rachel Lyon can also be an option. I think this is sort of going to Rome, literary thriller. I don't know why I think this is going to Europe. Why do I think that? There are places like this everywhere, places you enter as a young girl from which you never return. I would also say A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen L. Peck is an adventure. I think this book is going to be an adventure. I also have The Night Guest by Hildur Knútsdóttir, which would be an adventure. This is supposed to be creepy and I'm scared to read it, but that would be, an adventure not taken. There are so many books that I could pick for this, but I'm going to limit my choices to these. I'm gonna pick out the books for the other prompts, for the other challenges, and then we'll come back to this pile, or, you know, pick stuff from this pile along the way. We'll see. Yeah, we'll come back to this in a little bit. So next I'm going to pick books for my diversity book bingo, and I'm going to use 2 dice, and since there are 2 dice, I will get 2 numbers, and that will give me 2 possible coordinates for the diversity book bingo, the bingo board, and that will give me my prompts. So let's do the first roll. 6 and 3. So 6, 3 gives me seasonal, and 3, 6 gives me nonfiction. I have already read a nonfiction book that I think I'm going to count. Seasonal. Do I want something seasonal? What would be seasonal for March? I mean, the Women's Prize for Fiction announcement is March 4th. And so, like, March is, you know, Women's Prize season. I know there's a prompt on the Read Good challenge, which is to read a book by, or like a book that has been nominated for the Women's Prize. So, but then I can't really choose it right now. Okay. I think I'm gonna go with a book that I think will be on the long list, or that I like think maybe should be. I don't really know. Ordinary Saints by Niamh, Mhaoileoin. I hope I'm saying that right. It's about a girl who is queer in some way, and her brother is sort of named to be a saint somehow. And it's like Catholicism and queerness and family dynamics, and I don't know, it sounds really good, and I think it's been nominated for some other kind of prize. Let me see. Oh, okay, it's already been shortlisted for the Women's Prize Discoveries Award, so like that still fits, but it's probably not going to be on the Women's Prize long list because it has already been on one of the lists. It's an exploration of family, grief, queer identity, and the legacy of Catholic Church in Ireland, because that would also fit with my religion prompt for the diversity book bingo. I also have it on audio, and I have pre-ordered the paperback, so I will have that at some point. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ordinary Saints for this prompt. Okay, roll number 2. 2 and 3. 2, 3 gives me comfort read, and 3, 2 gives me the arts. I'm looking at my stack of books here from the reading spa prompt, and I don't think that any of these fit either prompt. I am currently reading The Mourning Necklace by Kate Foster, which is kind of a comfort read. Another option that I think would be like about the arts is Glorious Exploits by Ferdia Lennon. I also have Kantika by Elisabeth Graver picked out as an option for this prompt for the arts, because there's something about the arts that's relevant in that story as well, I think. I also want to read She's a Lamb by Meredith Hambrock. That is about like a theater. That would be a lot of fun, but I don't have that. I would prefer something from Africa or Australia or South America, but I don't think my South America reads has any art in them. Let me see if Little Rot has any art. Not really. I think the one that is most like explicitly about art, it talks about theater and poetry in the description, is Glorious Exploits by Ferdia Lennon, and I think this is going to be a fun, and like it's a bit short, so this could be an option, but it doesn't really provide me with a lot of diversity for my bingo. So I think Kantika by Elisabeth Graver would be a better choice in that sense. But it's quite long, and I think it's one of those books that I need to be in the mood for, because it's like, you know, epic family saga, and that's not always the most exciting to me to read. But I am really curious about that. So I think I'm gonna like see if it's available at the library, and if so, I can just try them out and see which one I want to read. Okay, roll number 3. 1 and 3. So 1-3 gives me climate or nature, and 3-1 gives me unreal. I have already picked The Maid and the Crocodile for the unreal prompt, so then I'm stuck with climate or nature. The ones that I have picked out for climate or nature is 2 nonfiction books. One of them is called The Big Picture or something like that, and the other one is Unbowed by Wangari Maathai, which is a memoir, I think, about this woman in Kenya who I think won like the Nobel Peace Prize, and she has like planted lots of trees and done lots of good things for the environment. I've put in a reservation for Unbowed. So for the diversity book bingo, I have Ordinary Saints for seasonal, Glorious Exploits or Kantika for the arts, and then Unbowed for climate or nature. So next up we have Lost in the Library by Leandra the TBR0, and let's start by rolling to see how many rolls I'm gonna do. 3. 3 rolls feels very manageable, and let's see what the first one is. 2. So last time I ended on TBR, and so that's where we're starting now. And so with a 2, I can get to fast or slow, cozy activity, or adult fiction. Adult fiction is very easy and I can kind of pick whatever. Fast or slow, I'm definitely gonna pick a fast one if I go there. Do I have anything else that's like fast or slow? I mean fast. Do I have anything that's fast? I think I'm gonna go to fast, and I'm gonna go with A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen L. Peck. I think this is gonna be a fast read because it's very short, and then I can also pick this for the reading spa prompt, which was An Adventure Not Yet Taken, which is the book itself and like not going to hell. Okay, roll number 2. 5. 5 can take me to Treat Yourself, Cozy Activity, Immigrant Refugee MC, Read a Debut, 5-star prediction, Renewal, Out of Your Comfort Zone, TBR, or Book on the Cover. I would like to read a 5-star prediction, and I think Ordinary Saints could be a 5-star prediction, but like we might as well put another one on here. I think my strongest 5-star prediction is Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk. I also think Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby is a 5-star prediction. I don't know why I need another option. I can just go with Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead. So I'm gonna do that. And this is translated from the Polish by Antonia Lloyd-Jones. So that's the one we're going with. Okay, roll number 3. 2. I still don't have a lot of audiobooks, so we'll see if we can get that in now. So 2 gets me to Banned Book, Immigrant Refugee MC, Read a Debut, 1-2 Renewal, 1-2 2026 Goal, 1-2 Out of Your Comfort Zone. So I think I'm gonna go to 2026 Goal, and for that I'm gonna count like any of my reading challenges, and then I can just pick any book that I wanna read that matches any prompt on the reading challenges. Okay, I'm gonna do that. So for the buzzword reading challenge, I already have Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead, which works for the prompt to read a book with an instructional title. I don't think I have anything for the buzzword cover challenge, so maybe I should do something for that. I could do Pinky Swear by Danielle Girard, which is a thriller where the surrogate mother disappears just days before the baby's due date. Do I have anything that works for the Read Good challenge? Oh, hang on. I think Every Version of You by Grace Chan was longlisted for the climate prize, but that could be an option, because then I would also have read something from an Australian author. Then if I don't want to read Unbowed, I can count this for the climate or nature prompt on the bingo board for the diversity book bingo. I do have that on audio as well, so that could be an option. Or Stoneyard Devotional by Charlotte Wood, which I also have on audio, I think. Hold on. I've made some notes and I think I know where I'm at. This feels very messy and I still need to check that I have something for all of the other reading challenges that I'm doing. But so far we have A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen L. Peck. This goes for the reading spa prompt to read a book that makes me think of an adventure not yet taken. And it also goes for the fast prompt for the Lost in the Library game. And then I have Ordinary Saints by Mhaoileoin, something along those lines. That goes for the Diversity Book Bingo prompt, seasonal, and I have that on audiobook and a physical copy on the way. For the arts prompt on the Diversity Book Bingo, I have Glorious Exploits by Ferdia Lennon or Kantika by Elisabeth Graver. And then for the climate prompt, I have Unbowed by Wangari Maathai from the library, or I have Every Version of You by Grace Chan, which would also fulfill the prompt to read something from Australia. And so that's a personal goal of mine because it's on the Diversity Book Bingo. And so that could also work for the 2026 goal on the Lost in the Library board game. And I also have that on audio. And then I have Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk, which goes for 5-star prediction for Lost in the Library. And I have this on audio as well. So I can go back and forth or immersion read or, use that for the Audiomiles event because that was, the point. I don't have anything picked out that matches any of the prompts I have left on the Buzzword Cover Challenge, but I don't think I want to pick that now. I think if I decide to add anything else, it's going to be a mood read, and then if it happens to match a prompt on the Buzzword Cover Challenge, I'm just going to add it as I go. So I think I'm going to be happy with that. I do think it's a bit complicated, but I think it's going to be a really fun TBR still, and I'm going to make a lot of progress on all of my challenges. So in the end, it's all good, and I'm excited to read all of these books in March. Let me know what book you are looking the most forward to reading in March. I think the one I'm most excited about is Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead because it's a 5-star prediction. But I'm also really excited about Ordinary Saints. Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one.